legends, welcome back to another Ruck Infringement Podcast team preview. This week, it's the reigning premiers, the Penrith Panthers. And to join me, the man, RFlaxxy. Flaxy, how you going, mate?
Man, I'm doing pretty good, Got my this actually got delivered today, believe it or not.
Wow.
The four-peat jersey for your reigning four-time reigning premiers. Yeah, very excited for this year. Obviously, teams changed a bit, but we've heard that before. But I'm doing pretty good.
For those not watching on the YouTube, if you're listening audio, he's literally got no shirt on. He's just drawn 4-peat across his chest. And of course, welcoming my co-host for the podcast,
Mate, don't.
Harry Smith.
Oh, mate, it's a pleasure to be back on. It's been a while. Like Flaxy said, the team's changed a little bit this year, but that's always been said in the past, and we've always proved them wrong. And this year we're going for 5.
Wow, I love to hear it. Look, I think I'm the flower between two thorns here. But anyway, let's get straight into it, shall we, boys? All right, let's go through all the ins and outs of the Penrith Panthers for 2025. Now, we know the outs have been spoken about a lot this season, but let's talk quickly about the ins for 2025. Now, a big one, Isaiah Papali'i, coming over from the West Tigers, of course, probably wasn't probably didn't hit the heights that he hit at Parramatta at the Tigers. So really interested to see how he goes in 2025. And I think he'll do a lot better. Another in, of course, is Blaze Dying Man. We were talking about off field. And I think Blaze, look, we saw what a fantastic player he was in 24 at the Eels. And I thought he did really well. But if we go through some of the losses now, look, big ones. James Fisher-Harris to the Warriors, Jerome Luai to the West Tigers, Sunia, I always say his name wrong, sorry, Sonia Taruva to the West Tigers as well. There's many more there. They're the big ones for me, the major ones there. But, boys, let's talk a bit about those gains and losses. Now, the gains, are you excited?
Absolutely, mate. Isaiah Papali'i, a lot of people kind of saw that and was like, they were very confused and very right. So he's come from a very poor year last year at the West Tigers, but look at him when he was at Parramatta. He was at a winning club in a winning culture
Yeah.
at the time, and that's what Penrith is. And I think he will be in a better space with a better surrounding of players and mentors and coaches. And I think this is going to be an exciting year for Isaiah Papali'i. I've been told he's probably going to be sharing a lot of minutes with Sorensen,
Yep.
and I wonder if Sorensen's going to be starting or if Papali'i is going to be starting. But I think this is going to be a great year for him. I am very excited. It's a big gain, especially after losing Fisher Harris.
Mm.
That's probably what, like, obviously Luai's there, but that's a big loss in the forwards, especially with the pairing he had with Moses Leota. So I'm
Mm.
very excited for him and for Blaze Talangi. Speak of NBA, he's our Luka Doncic. He's going to be the face of Penrith in the coming future years. So very excited to see what comes out of him. Obviously, a lot of talk about him being too young. Is he going to be as good? Is he going to grow as good as what we think? Well, we don't know. But being in a system like Penrith, it's very promising to being, in a different club. So I'm very excited to see what we have coming forward this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Harry, let's talk about the losses now. Of course, the big ones in Fisher Harris and Luai. What sort of challenges does that pose for Penrith?
Well, like we were talking about before we started, especially losing Luai, if we, for whatever reason, have Cleary go down, we don't have that set player that can take over the 7 role
Mm.
just yet. And for Talagi, it's massive shoes to try and fill.
Yeah.
Like he's coming into the place of a 4-time premiership winner. And even Fisher Harris, he's one of the biggest losses I think the club's had in recent years, I reckon. And a lot of pressure I think is on Papali'i too to try and fill his shoes as well.
Sure.
And Taruva, we're gonna miss him being so quick and eccentric on the wing. I think we have a very good replacement for him, and yeah, I just can't wait to see what the year brings.
Look, at least Taruva won't stare into my soul when he scores a try, and I might not make it on TV next time. So that'll be nice. But look, shout out to the casual athlete, of course, who posted that video. Let's jump into our predicted lineups, 1 to 17. Now, obviously, if there's a player injured, we can just say, look, we would have this player, but they are injured at the moment, so we'll have this player instead. Let's start off with our number one. So, Dylan Edwards, no one's coming to replace him, barring injury, touch wood. But I think we're all in agreement Dylan Edwards will be the number one.
Yep.
As I said to you before, and I think it's a clear cut 1 through 9.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dylan Edwards is very, very going to be locked in there. What I'm interested to see is what happens if a player does go down, especially in the halves, and if he does fill a role there because he has played 6 before. So
Yeah, absolutely. Let's jump into the wingers now. Of course, Brian To'o on one wing, we know Mr. Reliable and what he'll do. On the other wing, interesting with Taruva gone, Casey McLean, who's penciled in for that spot at the moment, but of course his brother Jesse McLean just on the fringes there as well. Do you guys have Casey for your other wing spot?
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He had a really good year last year. I'm
He did.
excited to see what he does. Yeah. He scored 4 tries, wasn't it?
For New Zealand.
In the New
In
Zealand
the
game.
in the Kiwi game, yeah.
And so, like I think we just need to build his defense up and he could be a great replacement for Sania.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Jump into the centres. I think it speaks for itself. Paul Alamotti and Isaac Tungo. I think they will be there in the centres. But let's move into the halves now. From all reports, Blaise Talangi is going to be the starting number 6. We spoke a bit off air. Jack Cole is definitely there as well, who can fill the void. You got Dane Laurie as well, who can also play a bit of 6. But I think Blaise gets the first crack, and Nathan Cleary at halfback. The halves don't need any more explaining there. I don't think anyone thinks any different. I think Blaise has a 6 jersey on his back, ready for round 1. If we move into the front row, of course, the big loss of Fisher Harris, but he'll just be replaced by Lindsay Smith, who arguably had his best season in 2024 as well, earned himself a rep call-up for Australia, which was incredible. I mean, hasn't even played Origin yet, went straight to Australia, did really well too. I really like him as a player, really good young kid. So I think Lindsay Smith will take that role, and of course Moses Leota with Mitch Kenny at hooker. We all in agreement there?
Yep.
Beautiful. Let's jump into the second row now. Interesting here because in the past, we've seen Scotty Sorensen fill the void, Luke Garner fill the void. Now they've got Isaiah Papali'i as well. Who takes that 11 spot, Harry?
I've actually got Papali'i taking that spot. Especially, he has a point to prove, and what better way to do it than to force his way into the side and put on a show.
Yeah, absolutely. Flaxy, have you got Papali'i or do you have one of the old faithfuls?
Honestly, I think we're going to start with Papali'i. We're going to trial him. We're going to see how he works. Obviously he's not going to be playing a full, I don't think he actually plays a full 40 minutes to start off. I think we ease him into the spot. We trial out, we experiment. So I think I'm 50-50. I think at the start of the season, we do definitely start, we trial it. And if it doesn't work, maybe he's an impact player off the bench. And then we have Luke Garner or Liam Henry in there. So, but at the beginning of the season, I do think we trial him in the starting.
Yeah, for sure. I think they could really transform him into a middle. He's definitely got the size to play in the middle. I think they may try that depending on how he goes in the second row, as you said before. Liam Martin takes to 12, and of course, Isaiah Yeo, the captain, at 13. If we look at the bench makeup now, I've got Jack Cole at 14. I think we were in agreement there as well. Liam Henry's got to be in there. And then depending on who plays, so who starts in the second row, I've got Scotty Sorensen on the bench. And you could also make a case for Luke Garner as well. Is there anyone I've missed there on the bench, or are we all pretty clear cut?
I'm pretty happy with that. I had Jack Cole, Scott Sorensen, Liam Henry, and Luke Garner in my 14 to 17.
Yeah, I had
beautiful.
the exact same thing.
Yeah, So, yeah, great. I mean, it's a pretty easy predictive lineup there. Not much change for the Panthers. Really only that one position. But, yeah, look, it'll be really good to see where they go from here. But, boys, we're going to jump into a bit of Supercoach now. Now, all three of us play Supercoach. Of course, we have a comp running for the Ruck and Frederick podcast. Our link is in the description. We also have an NRL fantasy comp running as well. Both links are there. You are playing for a championship ring. Look, they're very heavy. They are worth a lot, and they're very, very nice. So make sure you work your hardest. Try and win these comps because chasing a really good ring. But if we jump into the players here, I'm going to go through a few players. I want you guys to tell me whether you've got them in your team, if they're relevant, if they're not, and any other thoughts that you have. So let's start at the top. Now, Dylan Edwards, of course, playing fullback, 839K. Look, Supercoach relevant the past couple of seasons. I think there's better options to start the year who are cheaper. But Dylan Edwards definitely one for after Origin. He's great for a run home. Harry, is he in your team?
Yeah, he was one of the first two players that I put into my side. He's just like with his Supercoach stats alone, he's just always so consistent. And yeah, like you said, he's always good for a run after Origin. And yeah, I think he's probably a lock for majority of people's teams.
Yeah, very nice. Not in my team currently, but only because I've just gone cheap to start with to save a bit of that cash. And then I want to bring my guns in towards the back end. Flaxxy, I'll throw to you, mate. The next guy that we want to talk about, Nathan Cleary. Now, 811K, pretty well owned most years in Supercoach. Most people who jump on Cleary, it's probably the cheapest I've seen him in a long time at 811K. Mate, is he a lock in your team?
He's on my halfbacks. I have a pretty stacked halfback list this year. I've actually not got Dylan Edwards in my fullback. I've gone a bit of a different route. I've gone a bit of an experimental route this year, but I have a very heavy, expensive halves, and Nathan Cleary is one of those halves. So
very nice.
So I'm hoping, as I said before the podcast started, I hope this is a year where he more focuses on a Dally M position and doesn't, maybe hopefully he does stay healthy. And I hope he gets a lot of the points, especially with Jerome Luai no longer taking any points off him. Obviously you still have like Dylan Edwards, Brian To'o, but having no second major half in your team and Blaze Talangi, he's going to be good, but he's no Jerome Luai. So I think Nathan Cleary is going to still get some more daily M points than he would last year because there's no one to take it off him.
Mate, as long as he gets me over 100, 150 in Supercoach, I don't care. He can do whatever he wants. Right, the third player I want to talk about, Isaiah Yeo, in the second row, 727K. Look, a fantastic option. He's in my team. He's one that I will start with. Maybe at Origin time I'll swap him out. It just depends on how things are looking then. But for me, he's an instant starter. Harry, what about you?
Yeah, I'm the same. He's instant starter. I think majority of my boys are actually Panthers players, which could very well be a massive disadvantage. But yeah, I'm going to start the year with them, and worst comes to worst, I'll just have to trade them out. But always got to stick true to the boys.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move down the list a little bit now. Isaiah Papali'i, the man we spoke about before a couple of years ago, very, very Supercoach relevant. He's at 585K. Can he get back to that form that we saw when he was playing at Parramatta? Only time will tell, but I currently don't have him in my side. Do you have him, Flaxy?
I don't think he's worth a dime in Supercoach. Like, I love him as a player. He's a Panthers boy.
Yeah.
But in Supercoach, teams are irrelevant in my opinion. So this man, as I said, I think he's experimental at first in the starting lineup. I think he maybe gets 30, maybe 35, 40 minutes, if that. He's gonna be sharing a role with Sorensen. So there's points being taken off him just because he's not going to be on the field, and I just don't think it's worth having him there for that reason.
Yeah, for sure. The next one I want to talk about is in our centre and wing positions. Now, the first one is Brian To'o, 688K. I've had him in Supercoach the past couple of years. He's done okay. I think, as Flaxy said then, it doesn't matter what team you play for because sometimes the points don't they don't matter. Like you can be coming first the whole season, your points in Supercoach can still be terrible. But Toto has those games where even if he scores 3 tries, his points might not be high because Supercoach is such an attacking focused game, and he does the little things which don't get him enough points. But for me, he's one I'm watching at the moment. I just want to see the first couple of rounds, and then I'll make my decision. I think he might lose some cash, and then there'll be a great time to get him in. But Harry, do you have Toto?
He's actually one of the boys I don't have at the start. He, like you just said, his Supercoach points vary week to
Mm,
week, and yeah, like you said, he always does the little things that don't always notch up the points. But yeah, I'm hoping, for a little cash fall and then just bring him in and keep him for the rest of the season.
absolutely. Let's move down a little bit to our other centre and wing, Casey McLean. Now, 443K. If he gets that starting gig on the wing, it's not a bad option to go. Look, he should play there most of the season, we're presuming. Flaxy, any interest in McLean?
I actually have him in my starting lineup.
Very
I
nice.
do think he's going, 400K is not bad for a decent center wing
Yeah.
position. And to be fair, if you look at Panthers last year, a lot of the time they did go out Sania's side, and I think that's
Mm,
where Casey McLean's going to be. And if he pulls games like he did in that Kiwi game, I think he's going to be worth that money, and he's going to be a lot more expensive through the year. So I think getting him now, it could backfire. But knowing Penrith, a lot of people, a lot of teams might actually think not to defend that side harder because now they're going to think, oh, we're going up Brian's side, Brian's side, Brian's side. But you know if a lot of teams think that, then we go the other side and Casey's there. Points are going to be waiting for him on Supercoach, and he's going to be winning me some of my leagues. So that's why I got him in my starting lineup there.
beautiful, mate. Let's move down to some for the Black Book, maybe some to watch if they get a starting role. But let's talk about his brother, Jesse McLean. Now, Jesse, 234K centre wing. If he ended up with a starting role at 234K, he is juicy. I would get him in a heartbeat. At that price, it's so cheap. Another one I want to talk about, Preston Ricky. He's sort of been on the cusp of this team for a couple of years now. I really like what I saw from him in the trials. I don't think he lands a spot barring injuries. Um, if he manages to land a spot, he's also very cheap at 232K. Apart from that, couple to watch, Riley Price. He looks really good in the trials as well, 214K. But I think those last few, just keep them in your black book ready for another season. But that is it for Supercoach now. If you do want to join, I will put our league codes in the description on YouTube and through Spotify as well. Don't forget there are prizes up for grabs and get amongst it. It's going to be a fantastic comp. All right, boys, we're going to talk a bit about the Penrith Panthers now. Now, you two, obviously, Penrith Panthers tragics. You love your team. The past 4 seasons, the past 5 seasons, I should say, we've seen Penrith dominate at such a high level. Of course, 4 comps in a row, 5 grand finals in a row. 2025 comes, they lose a couple of big names. People start to write them off. Flaxy, tell us where Penrith are going to finish in 2025.
Mate, I'd say, look, we get told every year, oh, Panthers have lost this player and this player, and we just don't know if they're going to be strong enough to, move on and get up there. And, their team dynamics changed, and, they've just lost too many heavy hitters in their team. And what do we see year and year and year again? We just prove them wrong. After the South Grand Final, we were done. We lost Burden, we lost all these players, and we were done. Then we lost Appy. Oh, we lost Appy. Mitch Kenny's not going to be anything. Nah, we're done. Then we lost Stephen Crichton, and oh my God, everyone lost their heads. And then we're done. And now we've lost Jerome Law and not Adam Fanua Blake, fucking James Fisher Harris, and they think we're done. Look, it has gotten to a point. 4 years in a row we've won. 5 years we've been in the grand final. For me, I'm 22 years old. I'm 23 next week, but I've for 1/4 of my life, I've at least seen Panthers in the spotlight, including 2003. Um, Sorry, just had to dig that one in there. But for me, you cannot count us out until we're out now. That is literally You cannot count us out until we're out because we've had all this bad stuff, players going down, injured. Like, look at 21. Our team was held by tape. We had injuries. Dylan Edwards was in a boot until the day of the grand final. And, now we've lost players. You can't count us out until we're out. We are the system that the Panthers have created. You literally cannot doubt us. And I think this goes again to say for this year. This year, yes, we've had big losses, and a half is different this year. A half is a different type of loss. But again, I've heard it all before. I think Panthers are in the top four, regardless if Nathan Cleary gets injured or not. Panthers don't care about a minor premiership, so I don't think we're going to be coming first. I don't think
Hmm.
we care if we come first, but I know we're going to make that top four spot. So
Very nice, very nice. First off, 2003, mate. What were you? 3 years old, 4 years old?
I was
Don't be
1 years old,
don't,
actually.
don't be bringing that in here, all right? And second of all, look, it's a great shout. Top four. Look, can they still get there? Who knows? Harry, where are Penrith finishing this season?
Like Flaxy said, I've got us in the four. Look, it's not over until the fat lady sings, and I haven't started singing yet. So you can't, you can knock us down, but you can't knock us out. Yeah, we're finishing in the top four, 100%.
Mate, credit to you. You're at the gym. You're working out. What are you talking about?
All right, the skinny fat lady.
I love it. Boys,
Mate,
look,
mate,
someone's got to be
you know what
different.
sucks? You know what sucks about this year? You
What?
know what sucks about this year is the fact that this is going to be outdated after this year. I'm gonna have to find a. I'm gonna have to get Gold Texter and just have a fifth line there.
Listen to him. Listen to him. Oh, I love it. All right. Someone's got to be different on this pod. So I'm not going top four for Penrith. I'm going Penrith to finish fifth. I think a Nathan Cleary injury sends the team into a spiral, and they'll finish outside the top four, still be in the eight, but they'll finish fifth there. So that is a bold prediction. Let's say that. I'm getting
Bold
daggers here.
prediction.
Typical Roosters
Look,
fan.
look, look. You can call it bold all you want, but you're wrong. So,
Mate, someone's got to be objective, right?
you,
Someone's got to
you,
be
you can
different.
be objective, but you can be wrong too.
Yeah,
So
true,
I
true.
just want you to know that we're going to be looking back in this at the end of the year, and you're going to be like, maybe I should have agreed with the boys that have been right for the past 4 years.
Yeah, look, maybe, or maybe I will. Who knows? But look, fantastic there. Let's see where the Penrith Panthers end up in 2025. It's going to be wonderful. Before we finish up, boys, we're going to talk about a dynamite player, a player we think may explode in 2025. Could be a new player, could be someone who's been there for 10 plus years. We'll start off with you, Harry. Who's your dynamite player for 2025?
My dynamite would be Casey McLean. The the run that he had last year, especially in that Kiwis game at the end, I think it's only onwards and upwards for him. He'll really solidify that wing spot, and pretty much, I reckon he's going to be up there for most tries this year.
Very nice. I love it. Flaxy, who's your dynamite player?
It's gotta be Blaze Slungy. Like obviously, if Cleary goes out, that is going to be a question a lot of people are going to be asking. And unfortunately, it's gotten to a point where it's a not if, but when Nathan goes out. And I hope it's an if. I hope he doesn't. But a lot of eyes are going to be on Blaze Salungi, especially in the first few weeks, especially if he plays in Vegas. Um, I think the first three games, who I think we versus you guys, I think we versus we're versing hard teams. You look at the first 3 weeks. We got Sharks, we got you guys, and then we got Melbourne.
Mm,
Um, those three games are going to really determine on how our year goes because obviously those three teams, maybe not the Roosters, but the Sharks and the Melbourne Storm, I have in my top four, and I think it's going to be a big tell on how this year's going to go. If Blaze Salungi has had a pretty good preseason, if he integrates well with Nathan Cleary, and yeah, I think those games will show. If we hopefully we win all three, and then if Nathan Cleary goes out, will he step up to the plate? So it- I think he's the eye catcher. He's the one to watch.
yeah, very nice. Boys, mine is Mitch Kenny. Now, I've loved what I've seen from Kenny over the past few seasons. I really think 2025 could be a big year for Mitch. I've actually got him as a smoky for Origin too. I think he's right on the cusp there of playing for New South Wales. If there's an injury to Appy or Robson, I think he's the first one in. So I'm going Mitch Kenny for a dynamite player. I just think he's about to explode in his game. But there are dynamite players for 2025 for the Penrith Panthers. That's all we got time for our Penrith Panthers team preview tonight. It's been absolutely wonderful. We'd like to thank you, Flaxxy, for joining us. Of course, Harry for jumping back on. Don't forget, you can check out our sponsors, JerseyKingz Australia. Go to jerseykingzaustralia.com. Check out all the latest jerseys. All their NRL 2025 jerseys are out now. If you use our code RUCK, you'll get $50 off, which is an absolute bargain if you ask me. They're selling jerseys for $150. Use our code, you get jerseys for $100. Absolute steal, but don't steal. Of course, check out Stay Fancy Eyewear as well. The best safety glasses going around. You can wear them on the job site and they look good too. So use the code RUCK10 for 10% off there. And of course, Gibson's Country Style Jerky, the best jerky that you can ever find. Great variety of flavors and just taste absolutely amazing. Use the code podcast for 10% off. Gibson's Country Style Jerky. Check them all out on social media, Instagram and Facebook. Of course, you can find the Ruck and Fridge podcast on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and X, and also Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And head over to our YouTube to watch the full video now. Until next time, that's Flaxy, that's Harry, I'm Joey. Be good.
Cheers, boys.